Hey everyone, welcome back to Obscure Victories Gaming, where we game for growth. In this episode of the Unheralded Dynasty, we are diving into 3 of the top recruits on our board. I don't want to waste any time, so let's do it. First up is Alex Bavaro, JUCO DT. He's playing at Blinn Community College right now, and Texas just found out about him, offered him a scholarship, so we're heading down there to see if we can lock him up this week. All right, so let's look at Alex Bavaro, a power rushing defensive tackle, spent 1 year at Blinn Community College, coming out as a true sophomore. You can see some of his numbers on the left, but let's look at why he's unheralded. He was a late developer with the JUCO path. So he had late physical growth, went from 250 to 322 pounds post high school. He had academic challenges requiring JUCO route, and he has a small town background with limited exposure. And he had a scheme-first approach, which limited him in getting impressive stats. But what do we see? We see a cornerstone anchor with upside. We like his exceptional raw power with technical wrestling foundation, and his football IQ is beyond his experience level. His character attributes are perfectly aligned with our program culture, and he still has significant physical development potential, with 10 to 15 more pounds of quality muscle. On the next slide here, you can see some of his top attributes. We kind of went over them. You can see he was a multi-sport athlete in wrestling. He also participated in track. You can see some strengths there in the green. And I think the top 2 that stand out to me are his work ethic. He's shown consistent approach to both athletics and academics, and he's resilient. He overcame academic struggles to post a 3.2 GPA at the JUCO level. You can see the development areas. I think the 2 that we can really hit home on in our program are the verbal communication. I think he's really going to respond to how we build leaders. And that last one says experience. I think he's going to get a ton of reps in practice, but I don't think he's too far away from getting game reps. The next slide here, we have parent concerns. His mom says, "We understand UTSA is building something new, but Alex values tradition. He grew up watching those established programs with their decades of history. How do you give him that sense of belonging to something bigger when you're still writing your first chapters?" And then his father said, "We're worried about city life being overwhelming compared to Rockdale. Our community is tight-knit with just 5,600 people. Alex has thrived in smaller settings. How will he adjust to a large university environment?" And then you can see Coach O'Connell's response. He said, "What we offer is different but equally meaningful. The chance to become a foundational piece of our tradition. The players who join us now won't just participate in history, they'll create it. They'll be the ones future generations look back on as the standard setters." And then addressing Mr. Bavaro's concerns, he said, "We've developed specific support systems for players from smaller communities. Our brotherhood groups connect players with similar backgrounds. Players from tight-knit communities like Rockdale often become our strongest culture carriers because they understand the value of real connection." And then the last slide here, we just got some key contacts that we touched base with. And I just want to highlight the bottom 2. Dr. Shannon Lee, his academic advisor at Blinn College, said he's put as much effort into his academics as his athletics. He had a complete turnaround from early high school struggles, achieved a 3.2 GPA in his first year through consistent study habits and dedication. And then Coach Marcus Johnson, who coached him at Rockdale High School, said his late development wasn't just physical. His mental approach to the game reached another level his senior year once he committed to wrestling. That's when everything clicked. He still calls me weekly for advice. So a couple of key testimonials that really help us learn who Alex Bavaro is. So all in all, the visit to see Alex Bavaro play at Blinn College, we stopped at his hometown of Rockdale, got some really good information, and we're feeling good about signing this kid. All right, let's move on to Emanuel Flott, a 2-star tackle from Conway, South Carolina. Again, we've got South Carolina starting to pursue him. So we've got to get down there and strengthen the connection with him and hopefully get him to commit. All right, let's take a look at Emanuel Flott's hometown visit report card and see how his visit went. You can see his information kind of on the left, but what I want to focus on is the stuff on the right. So why is he unheralded? Okay, he has technical limitations masking his physical tools. He has limited football experience. He's only been playing for 3 years, and he hasn't attended any major recruiting camps. And he plays in a region with less scouting visibility. So 2 big things have contributed to him being overlooked. But what do we see? We see a developmental tackle with elite ceiling. We see elite natural strength foundation. He has an 81 rating right now. We think that can go up significantly. He has prototype tackle size with long arms. He's a power blocker, ideal for our gap scheme, with significant developmental trajectory. So he's labeled as a 2-star. We see him as a 3.5 star, who has a lot of room for growth. The next slide, looking at strengths and development areas. You can also see he is a multi-sport athlete, track and basketball. A couple of key strengths that we identified is his coachability. He eagerly accepts feedback and implements technique adjustments. And then the second one is his mentality. He plays with physicality, and he enjoys imposing his will in the run game. So those two things let us know that he really just loves football. He loves getting the feedback to learn and get better, and then using what he learned on the football field to help his team. Some development areas. I think the three key ones here, his technique, his fundamentals still developing. He relies too heavily on natural strength, which he can get away with in high school, but at the college level, not going to work so well. His football IQ, he's still developing understanding of complex blocking schemes, which we think our environment can really help him develop his football IQ at a fast rate. And the last one there, experience. Again, only 3 years of organized football. He's still learning fundamentals. He's still learning leverage, still learning a lot of things. But with the way we practice, as many reps as he's going to get, and the feedback and the support, again, we see him as a 3.5 star type player. All right, next slide, we got parent concerns. His dad said Emanuel really respects accomplished coaches. He's mentioned several times how impressed he is by Coach Anderson at South Carolina and their championship history. We're wondering if your coaching staff has the credentials and connections to help Emanuel reach his potential and possibly the NFL one day. And then his mother said other programs have emphasized how their conferences are regularly featured on national television and draw NFL scouts to every game. Will Emanuel get the same level of exposure and competition in your conference that he needs to develop properly? To the father's concern, Coach O'Connell said, I understand your concerns about coaching credentials. While our staff may not have the same name recognition yet, our offensive line coach, Coach Williams, spent 8 years in the NFL and has developed 3 draft picks in the last 5 years. We're focused on technical development rather than reputation. And then for his mother's concern, he said, as far as conference exposure, we actually see that as an advantage for Emanuel. In our conference, he'll face NFL caliber talent, but with more opportunity to start earlier and be a focal point. The big programs produce NFL players because they recruit them already developed. We develop NFL players from raw talent like Emanuel. And then some other key contacts we talked with on our visit. I just want to highlight the 2 on the right. Coach Terrence Davis, the offensive line coach at his high school, said Emanuel is a coach's dream in terms of physical tools, but he's still learning football fundamentals. His learning curve is steep. You can see the light bulb moments when concepts click. His best football is definitely ahead of him. He needs coaches who will be patient but demanding. And then Mr. Thompson, Emanuel's business teacher, says Emanuel shows remarkable interest in entrepreneurship and business concepts. He's one of the more engaged students in my class and recently led a team project on sports marketing. His analytical thinking in business context shows a maturity that sometimes hasn't fully translated to his on-field awareness yet. So there you have it, the report card on Emanuel Flott. We're really high in this kid. Again, they show him at 2 stars. We've got him at 3.5, and we love his upside, and we're really hoping we can get him. All right, so we moved to 4-3 in the conference, 5-4 overall, getting awfully close to bowl eligible. It's going to be tough, though. We got Tulane this week. They are ranked 18th nationally. It's going to be a tough Creole Plains conference matchup, but before we advance, we got to jump into recruiting. Okay, so Jung, he's got a visit with Wyoming. I don't think that Wyoming can make up that much ground with a visit. We'll keep him at 50 with a visit, and I think his visit, he's got somebody going with him. Yeah, he's got Alex Bavaro going with him. Jasmine looks solid, although Texas A&M, that makes me nervous. Texas still making ground. We got the first visit, though, so I think we can lock him up unless Texas does something. They're week 14. We might get Bavaro this week. Machado looking solid. We got 130 points to spend, so we're going to get 50 on Machado. Lutris, again, a JUCO guy. We'll see his hard sell. Looks like it'll be to the house. Not a great pitch, though, as I think about it. We'll just keep 50 on him. Charbonnet looking good. Rossi for Werda. Let's get our last 50 on him. Tap, we're losing ground. Oh, we got to sign some of these guys quicker. Okay, how about these new guys? True Blood, Wilkins. Okay. Jung, I think. Jasmine, Bavaro. I mean, we'll have Flott. Do we pull 50 off Flott? I mean, he's going to sign. What do you think it takes? Should we put 10 on him? Because I want to put 40 on True Blood, I think. Let's go 10. That looks like it's about 10 points away from the end, doesn't it? We'll find out. Everybody else I thought looked good. But True Blood I want to get. We got to get corners in. Or is it Wilkins? I think it's True Blood. I mean, Wilkins is already at the top. We got to get True Blood up there. And Villano. Hopefully we can sign, was it Bavaro and Flott? There's not enough guys that are going to sign to free up points. All right, well, that's it. I mean, we're scrambling here, but I think we're going to be in a good position to fill our needs. We'll just see. I don't know if we'll get all those guys. All right, we got Alex Bavaro. That's big. We're a JUCO program. We like to get JUCO guys in, so that's big for us. Flott, we ended up getting. South Carolina gave us a big scare. We ended up pulling away with him. Jung, we're still good. Jasmine, championship contender, goes down. Lost to Tulane, 4-4 in the conference. 5-5 overall. Still got hopes for a bowl game. All right, coming into week 12, 5-5. Taking on Houston. They're 4-6, 2-6 in the conference. Another winnable game, I think. I haven't been checking by the numbers, but it looks like they're 84 overall. So maybe tougher than I thought. But we are at home in the Alamo Dome. Hopefully we can pull that off and get to bowl eligibility this week. Let's jump into recruiting. All right, so Cabral signed. We forgot to move him down. Bavaro and Flott, big signings. We freed up quite a few points here with those guys. Jung looking good. Jasmine. What's his hard sell? Or we're already doing it. Maybe he signs this week. I mean, Texas A&M. Can we get him a visit? Do we want to? Week 13, Memphis. I just don't know if that's worth 40 points. Let's hold off on that and see what else we got to do. Machado. Can we get him a hard sell? Yep, he's got an A down there. Aspirational. I think we got quite a few guys that have aspirational as their ideal pitch, which I like. I think that fits what we're doing. So we'll get him that. We'll get him 10. Lutra's still looking good. Is it worth getting Lutras a visit? Washington's not after him. Charbonnet is okay. Rossi. For Werda, we took a huge jump. Although Oklahoma State, Kansas still there. Tap, still doing okay. Sam Houston jumped. Looks like all these guys are doing okay. Rust, Son, Amerson. True Blood, let's get to 50. And then we have 50 more for maybe Wilkins or Villano, or 25 each maybe. Let's go 25 each for Wilkins and Villano. Gibson. I mean, I'm just holding off on Gibson because I think we've got enough linemen. I mean, we signed Eifert. We got Flott. DeLuca's there. For Werda, it's going to be a battle. But then we've got Wake and hopefully Madden here. Why does Madden have that weird color top 5 there? Okay, let's move for Werda up just in case it makes a difference. Looking good there. Oh yeah, we gotta get True Blood up there. We've got a solid class coming in. Let's get Wilkins up there. And then Villano will go up there. Charbonnet. Again, I'm hoping these guys with the smaller schools on them don't make as big of a jump. But you can see, like, you know, Sam Houston, maybe to put points in him, they had to get a visit on somebody. I don't know how they do that. But they generally don't go all in on guys. I think it's like, you know, they scatter at like 35, 25. I think it's different than NCAA 14. Let's just move Tut up above these guys that signed. Gibson as well. So I thought we would make more ground here with Tut, just having a scholarship on him, and Gibson. But we'll have to wait and see. Can we get Tut 25, 35 instead of, I don't know if I want to do that though. Actually, if Wilkins is already, let's get Villano 50 so we can move up his board. And technically, I think he only needs 40 actually. But do we need 10 anywhere else? So I think 40 will let us jump up his board. Wilkins we could make ground on. And I'm just nervous here that Tut is near his top 8, but those guys aren't moving much. Let's see if we can throw 10 on Tut and move up his board. think everybody else will be good here. All right, still 35 targets on. Still just continue to claw and scratch to get these guys moving points around. But this is one of the best parts of the game. I think strategizing who to go after, how much points to put after them, who to pull off of. I really enjoy that part of recruiting. So let's advance a week, see where we end up. And one thing I've totally blanked on is we have 20 coaching points here. I was so into recruiting, I forgot to get these going. So we're going to dive into tactician. So we got 10 points, but we're going to get our O-line boosted up here. There we go. Again, offensive coordinator is Andrew Edmonds. He's an elite recruiter, which really helps. And then Joshua Leff is a tactician. So he's got everything kind of going for us tactician-wise. And then Edmonds, it looks like he has a lot. He's got some offensive things here. Boost a pipeline bonus. Kickers, why are we? So we gain interest for every 10 hours spent. That makes sense why we're getting some of these guys. All right, we spent our points. Let's move on. All right, Houston, gonna be a tough game. I like that we're at home. I hope we get to 6-6 here, so we don't have to wait. So we don't have to put it off for week 13. Okay, we got Jasmine. Everybody. Okay, so top, we got the first, just putting 10 on him. That's huge because it looks like he made his final 8 or his top 8 cut as well. We ended up losing to Houston, so we're 5-6, 4-5 in conference. This last game is going to be huge, but I think it's against a better team. So we're going to play really well to get bowl eligibility. All right, so we got Memphis, 84 overall again. So 2 tough teams back to back. They are bowl eligible. Maybe we catch them sleeping and we come away with a win. But first, let's jump into recruiting. Okay, True Blood looking good. Jung looks like maybe we'll sign it with his. That was week 12. We didn't get like a huge jump. We had a week 12 visit. Oh, but we lost. Higher tier opponent. We didn't keep it a close game, apparently. But we had Bavaro there. Or does he already sign, so maybe he didn't go? But they still give us credit for it, looks like. So we got 3 impact from the visit. So not that much. Kansas has one coming up. Hopefully we can sign Jung this week. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble with him. And our linebacker coach is really high in Timote. So we're headed to more to get to know more about Timote. All right, let's dive into Timote Jung and what we found on his home visit. We got a lot of good information. This was a kid who maybe got labeled incorrectly as being a problem player. You can see in the Y Unheralded, there was a misunderstood incident where he got labeled as a problem player after confronting a coach who was belittling younger players. And so his leadership was misinterpreted as defiance. And all the other programs that were looking at him kind of saw, the Twitter video of him confronting the coach, and they kind of got turned off by it, as did a lot of the recruiting companies. But what we'll dive into and what we saw moral courage and athleticism. He's got a strong moral compass and willingness to protect teammates combined with his rare speed and power combination at point of attack. Okay, the next slide, you can see some of his top attributes. You can see he was a multi-sport athlete in wrestling and track. I'm going to highlight his work ethic. He's the first to arrive, last to leave mentality. We've heard from teachers, from coaches, and then his tackling technique. What we saw in video and what his coaches talked about was he consistently delivers form tackles with power and security. And then some development areas. I think the top one, coverage skills, zone coverage is 51 rating, has room for growth there. And then the second one I want to highlight is his play recognition. Also not rated very well. He occasionally overcommits to his first read. So his development plan, we're going to focus on coverage skills while maximizing pressure packages for him. Some parent concerns. His dad said your defensive scheme often drops outside linebackers into coverage. Timote thrives when attacking downhill and pressuring the quarterback. How will your system showcase his best attributes? Coach O'Connell's response to that was, what looks like coverage drops is actually a disguised pressure package. We design our defense to leverage what makes Timote effective, his closing speed and instinct for finding the ball. And then Timote's mother said, Timote needs coaches who understand his intensity comes from passion, not defiance. How stable is your defensive staff? And what's your approach to players with Timote's competitive temperament? And Coach O'Connell said, we don't confuse intensity with attitude problems. Some of our best defensive players have been our most passionate. We create clear channels for that competitive fire, rather than trying to dampen it. Then some other key contacts we talked with on this visit. We talked with his head coach about the incident on the sideline last year, and his coach said what happened was completely misrepresented. Timote stood up for younger players being subjected to demeaning treatment. After investigation, we found a pattern of problematic coaching that Timote noticed before administration did. And then I want to highlight Coach Sarah Winters. She's a school counselor and the wrestling coach. She said Timote tried addressing it privately first. He only spoke up publicly when he saw a freshman in tears after being berated. I've watched him mentor young wrestlers with extraordinary patience, completely opposite to how he's been characterized. So there you go, the report card on Timote Jung. We think mislabeled as a problematic player. We've touched base with enough key people to get a good understanding of who Timote is, a good understanding of what happened in that situation, and we feel comfortable bringing Timote on. So hopefully we can get him to sign, because we really think he could do some damage in our defense. Machado still looking solid. Lutras top 3. For Werda, still doing well. Villano, we jump up. Wilkins, I think I want to get him the 50. Tap, maybe it's Tap though. Shoot. Yeah, I think it's Tap. Small looking good. Boone, Toner, Folk. So a lot of these guys, again, we're still just kind of riding out. Hopefully, Rust we get overtaken. But I think we got Villano. So I'm going to remove Rust, and that gives us one more spot to fill in. Sparks, okay. Gibson, not making much ground. Sun, okay. Amerson. Tut, we got 10 on and taking the lead. I'm going to take 10 off him. I'm going to put it on Sun, just in case Northwestern wants to get tricky. Okay, so I think we'll keep this as is. Again, all our points are used. Let's check out top classes, see where we rank. Oregon's number 1. And you expect all these teams to be up here. We were 19 last I checked in week 7. Here we are at 25. I'm guessing with a bunch of 3 stars we'll be in the top 50, top 40 somewhere. But not a bad class so far. 11 3 stars, 1 2 star. Okay, we do have 1 spot left, which is perfect because Coach Ways-Becruten has found us another prospect. Let's take a look. Al's email says, Coach Lexton from Channelview High School reached out to me yesterday about a player who's getting overlooked in this recruiting cycle. I've watched the tape, talked with his position coach, and there might be something here worth investigating. Quick profile, 2-star athlete, middle linebacker. He's 6 feet, 232 pounds. He's a 2-year team captain, all district honorable mention. Also plays strong safety in certain packages. He's an academic honor roll student, and he's son of Channelview's offensive coordinator. Then Al says athleticism jumps out. His speed and acceleration are what immediately caught my attention. He carries his 232 pounds well and can close on ball carriers with good burst. Timed at 4.62 in the 40 at their school's junior day last year. His lateral movement is fluid for his size. His agility testing numbers were apparently in the top quartile of their entire program. Football skills. Currently, his pursuit angles and tackling technique are what I'd call average for his position group. His zone coverage awareness shows room for growth, drops to appropriate landmarks, but sometimes loses track of receivers entering his zone. However, he demonstrates natural instincts, diagnosing plays, and has a good feel for screen recognition. What Coach Lexton said. Forrest is the son of our offensive coordinator, Coach Newcomb. Interestingly, that's probably working against him in recruiting. His film doesn't fully showcase his abilities because we had him playing multiple positions as we dealt with injuries. What doesn't show up on tape is his leadership. After our 3-game losing streak last season, he organized player-only film sessions and defensive meetings, turned our season around. And despite what people might think, we've been harder on him than other players. No favoritism here. Character notes. His position coach mentioned he tutors underclassmen in math and chemistry, was selected to represent the school at a regional leadership conference. Growing up around the game as a coach's son shows in his football IQ and preparation habits. Carries a 3.7 GPA in a curriculum with several AP courses. Teammates respect him for his work ethic, not his connection to the coaching staff. Why he's overlooked? The 3 factors working against him. 1. Channelview had a down year. They were 5-6, with a new defensive coordinator implementing a different scheme. 2. His versatility has left him without a defined position on film. Played middle linebacker, strong safety, and even some edge rusher in certain packages. And 3, being the OC's son has ironically hurt his recruitment. Some programs assume nepotism rather than merit. while others worry about the dynamics of recruiting a coach's kid. My take? This is exactly the type of player who thrives in our development system. The raw athletic tools are there. His speed, acceleration, and agility can't be taught. His football skills, zone coverage, tackling, pursuit, are currently average but show great potential for improvement in our system. He's a redshirt candidate who can develop into a quality contributor at either middle linebacker or potentially transition to strong safety, given his movement skills. His character and work ethic are exactly what we look for, and his multi-position experience actually makes him more adaptable to our defensive system. Worth bringing in for a visit to gauge his fit. His coach mentioned he's only received interest from a few FCS programs so far, despite having D1 physical tools. Al. Okay, so Newcomb, middle linebacker, 2-star guy. Let's go find him. All right, Forrest Newcomb, welcome to the board. Athlete, run stopper. We love recruiting these guys. Let's get him a scholarship, and let's take local 5 off Vellano, and we'll get moving on Forrest here. All right, that's it this week for recruiting. We got our final game of the season. Hopefully we come out on top. We get bowl eligible. So let's advance on. All right, there we go. We got Timote. So we got our 2 outside linebackers we were after. Jason Lutris we get. True Blood run first. Tap, Sun, Amerson, and Vellano. Looking good. Oh, I thought we were going to level up. One more week. Coach Prestige still takes a hit, but Timmy Hesser's still doing his best. We'll probably have another conversation with him come the end of the season. All right, so here we are. Week 14. We ended up losing the final game of the season. I was hoping we could pull it off and get into a bowl game, but not the case. Let's check out recruiting, see where we stand with these guys. True Blood, still doing well. Machado, hard sell on Machado. True Blood, we can get a hard sell. Looks like we got decent grades here. So we got a B+, a C, and a D+. I don't know if you guys have used sellornah.com. I mentioned it in some of my Legacy Dynasty videos with the Nevada Wolfpack, but Max plays CFB. I think he created this. But you can just go to sellornah.com, type in the 3 motivation grades, and he's calculated if it's worth doing a hard sell or not. So let's punch in a C. Okay, so it says sell. There's a good chance. So we're going to do that and then do a DM. Manny Machado looking good. He is a man-to-man corner, so I'm not sure that we'll stay after him. I don't think I caught that before. Sometimes there's so much to keep up with recruiting, especially in this first year when you're trying to get 35 guys. You overlook some things, but not necessarily a bad thing to have a man-to-man. We can maybe develop some of his zone stuff. For Werda, we're looking good. I don't think a hard sell goes with a C-, a C, and a C. So we'll keep him at just at 50 with the send the house. Vellano, we're going to get to 50. Wilkins still looking good. I may throw 50 on him. We got 90 hours left. Charbonnet looks good. Rossi looks good. Tap is okay. We took the lead. Small, Boone, Toner, Folk, Madden, Cookis, Laporta. Sparks will throw 50 into. TCU's making ground on him. So we got 40 left here. Gibson, I got to make a decision here tackle-wise. I mean, we've signed 3. I think I'm off Gibson. We've got 1 guard for Werda maybe, and then we've got, maybe Madden for sure, Wake. I think offensive line-wise we're going to be okay. So I'm going to be off Gibson. UCLA, got a scholarship and points on him. Ezekiel Sun will keep moving up. We're in his top 5. I may just soft sell if it works. We got a B in there somewhere. We just don't know yet. We'll actually keep him at 10. Amerson's still looking good. Tut, we moved up on him, just offering him 10. And Newcomb, I'd like to get going on. So we'll get him to 40. And that'll be it for this week. Quick review, we got Jolly, Ware, Milburn, Babcock, Mwachukwu, DeLuca, Eifert, Wake, Cabral, Bavaro, Flott were big. These 2, we kind of got challenged by some bigger teams. We were able to pull away. Jasmine and Jung, maybe thought we'd lose out on them a little bit, but we're able to pull those off. And Jason Lutris is a big signing, JUCO-wise. Top classes, we're at 26 now. Hoping to jump in the top 25, but I don't know if a fully loaded, 3-star class will do that with 1 2-star, maybe 2 2-stars. And again, hopefully we get within the top 40, top 50, something like that. All right, let's move on. All right, conference championship week is upon us. Let's see who's playing. All right, in the Harbor Conference, looks like we're going to have North Carolina and Virginia Tech. NC State looks like they're on the outside looking in there. But a battle between those top three teams. Wake Forest had a decent year, coming in at 24th in the nation. James Madison, Coastal Carolina, put up a good showing. The Revolution Conference, UConn is going to take on Maryland. Penn State, Rutgers not able to pull it off. Boston College not able to be up there. Pittsburgh, Syracuse, and West Virginia not able to put together a championship run this year in the first year of the conference reshuffle. Navy and Army at the bottom, not really a surprise there. UMass down there. Mid-South Central Conference has Arkansas and Texas. TCU on the outside looking in there at number 2 in the nation. Baylor's up there. Sam Houston. We have a lot of recruiting battles with Sam Houston. Or I shouldn't say a lot, but 2 or 3. Oklahoma State down here 4 and 6. Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma all had a rough go. SMU and Tulsa. So I think I said early on, I think this would be the toughest conference. But there's one other conference. I think it's the Southern Heartland Conference. That has a lot of good teams too. Glacier Valley has Wisconsin. They ended up putting together a good run to get up here with Illinois. I believe they were up top last time we checked. Iowa State just on the outside looking in. Eastern Michigan, Ball State, Central Michigan all put together good runs. Iowa's up here. Ohio, Minnesota ends at 500. Northwestern climbs out of the bottom. Western Michigan comes in at 1 and 9. Here's our conference, the Creole Plains Conference. Texas A&M put together a solid year, 10-2 overall. LSU 10-2 overall, but no national ranking. That's interesting. Texas State was up there. They gave it a good run, but unable to play the conference championship. Tulane's up there, Memphis, Louisiana, Arkansas State, Houston. There we are, 4 and 6. Kind of rounding out the top of the bottom there. Louisiana Tech, Texas Tech is down there. Rice and UL Monroe. The Rust Belt Conference. Ohio State is going to play Kentucky. We saw Kentucky at the top last time we checked. They're able to hold on. Cincinnati on the outside looking in. I'm assuming that Kentucky is second place ahead of Cincinnati, maybe beat them in a tiebreaker. Oh yeah, it does say second. Indiana, Michigan State, Purdue, Michigan all up there. Kind of middle of the road for Michigan. Louisville down towards the bottom. Akron, Bowling Green, Notre Dame not able to put it together. They were able to climb out of the bottom though, and Kent State unable to win a conference game. Shocking to see Notre Dame at 3 and 9 and 2 and 8 overall, with that 88 overall, 87 offense, 89 defense. In the Mesa Skyline, Colorado State and UNLV. I did not see that coming. I thought it would be maybe Arizona, Colorado. Even Utah was up near the top last time we checked. New Mexico State's down here. Lobos ended up at 5 and 7, 4 and 6 in the conference. Arizona State stayed towards the bottom. Air Force and then Wyoming ended up at 2 and 8. For the Golden Cascade Conference, Oregon and Washington. Not a shocker there. UCLA's up there. Washington State, USC, Oregon, Stanford, Cal. Wow. So this really split kind of Pac-12 and then into the Mountain West. San Diego State unable to win a game the entire year at 80 overall. In the Coastal Plains Conference, South Carolina's going to take on Miami. Florida just on the outside looking in. Georgia, but Georgia's 4th in the nation. Clemson's up there. USF was ranked number 1 for a while. Last time we checked, they ended up at 7 and 5, 6 and 4 overall. Florida State's down here at 3 and 7 in the conference, 5 and 7 overall. And Georgia State, Florida Atlantic, and Florida International down at the bottom. In the Southern Heartland, Tennessee will take on Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State was at the top last time we checked. They're able to hold on. Auburn, Alabama, not able to put it together. Alabama at 91 overall. Really shocking to see them at 6 and 4 in conference. And then 7 and 5 overall. Troy's up there. Middle Tennessee's in the middle. Ole Miss at 7 and 5 overall. Mississippi State's down here at the bottom. South Alabama and Vanderbilt at the bottom as well. All right, let's move on to recruiting. So here I think we're on our last time to apply points. It's either this week or next week. And True Blood has Toledo now coming after them. Toledo had a solid year. They've got a pipeline. We got as many points as we can on him, so we're going to have to let this ride out and see what Toledo does. And hopefully we can maintain this lead. It looks like they made about the same amount of progress as us. So if that stays true, we should outrun them and sign Keenan Trueblood. Machado's looking solid. Getting to his top 3, then it resets, so we got to continue to stay after him. He may go into the off season. For Werda, same deal. We don't have a good hard sell for him. so we'll pass on him hard sell wise. Villano getting a lot of look. Florida coming in hard. Wilkins, nobody after him. Charbonnet looking solid. Rossi, Tap still ahead of Sam Houston. Small, Boone, Toner all looking good. Folk, Madden, Cookus, Laporta. Sparks, who made a big jump. Ezekiel's son, now UL Monroe, has identified him. I didn't really expect to battle for some 2-stars, but we battled for Flott. Looks like we'll battle for Sun. Amerson, nothing, but there's South Carolina still. Tut looking solid. Newcomb, he's got Rice and Hawaii, both after him. So battling for another 2-star. So I still feel good about the allocation of points here, getting in my guys that we're battling for. So we'll keep it as is. The guys that don't have anything, I think we're the only ones on them. We'll keep it that way. I forgot we do have one opening available after last week. I think we got off Gibson. And would you know it, Coach Ways-Becruten has a prospect for us. Let's check out his email. Coach, found an interesting prospect in that batch of player submitted tapes. Ron Lassie from Barnesville High in Minnesota caught my eye. He mentioned watching our Rice game. He has a cousin on their team. And said your post-game comments about our culture really connected with him. He's reaching out during championship week with 0 FBS interest so far. Here's a quick profile. 1-star athlete, run stopper tendency. He's 6'1", 210. He's at Barnesville High School. He's a 3-sport athlete. Does football, basketball, and baseball. A couple of film highlights. At the 43-second mark, his pre-snap screen diagnosis and open field tackle. At a minute 21, you see a perfect gap fill with textbook hand technique. At 2:38, you see an A-gap blitz timing that shows natural pass rush ability. And at 3:15, you see great pursuit angle on a misdirection, shows his football IQ. His background? I talked with Coach Peterson, who described a classic small-town Minnesota kid. Helps his mom run the family farm with his 2 sisters. Spends summers at their cabin and loves hunting. Never attended football camp. Has D2 offers for baseball at St. Cloud State and basketball at Minnesota State Moorhead. The University of North Dakota, Northern Iowa, and Missouri have all made contact with him but haven't offered for football. The kicker? He only started focusing on football after junior year, which explains the low rating despite his natural instincts. My take? His ceiling is much higher than most 1-stars. Has natural diagnostic skills and football IQ you can't teach. His multi-sport background and late focus on football means he's still developing. He needs a redshirt year to add muscle and learn our system, but the raw tools and instincts are definitely there. Next steps? Let's set up a Zoom call next week. With mid-tier FCS programs starting to notice him and his D2 offers in other sports, we should move quickly. Perfect opportunity to get in early on a kid who specifically sought us out based on our program values. Al. Alright, so another 1-star gem. We've got one 1-star on the board, but we'll add another, hopefully another depth piece for us as we build this program. So let's go find Halassi. Alright, Halassi, Minnesota kid. Happy to get him on our board. Let's see if we can find somebody to take points off and get him a scholarship. I was going to say Sparks, maybe, or Sun, but those guys need it. Villano needs it. I mean, everybody needs the points. Newcomb. We'll take 5 off Newcomb. I think we can just stay in that battle until the offseason. Get Halassi a scholarship. All right, that's it for this week. I think this is last week to get points on them, so let's advance a week. All right, so conference championships in the books. No more points for recruiting, but let's check in on the conference championships. Let's see who came away with some wins here. So for the Creole Plains Conference, LSU takes down Texas A&M. In the Mid-South Central, Arkansas puts up 55 on Texas to take that championship. In the Rust Belt Conference, Ohio State just edges out Kentucky 17-16. Jacksonville State wins the Southern Heartland Conference. Did not see this coming. They had quite a stacked conference, I think. I think Bama, Auburn, Tennessee, some really good teams in there. But Jacksonville State takes the first championship in the Southern Heartland Conference. In the Revolution Conference, Maryland takes down UConn 34-10. In the Mesa Skyline, Colorado State comes out on top by 8, 28-20 over UNLV. South Carolina wins the Coastal Plains Conference 28-20 over Miami. In the Glacier Valley Conference, Wisconsin wins 31-17. And in the Harbor Conference, North Carolina takes it to Virginia Tech 42-12. So some good games here this week for conference championships. Some surprising teams made it in, and that's kind of what I was hoping for with the shakeup of these conferences. We saw some big-time teams not do so well, which I didn't necessarily expect, but I think it is fun to see for the sake of this dynasty. All right, let's move on. A couple of Heisman finalists here. Nick Tongas, Vi Obi. I think these are going to be mostly computer-generated players. I think Nick Tongas and Vi Obi for sure. Damon Williams, an actual real player. He had a solid year. Air Noland, and then Demarcus Davis for UCLA up here. So that's your Heisman Trophy race. Fun to see a redshirt freshman up here, a route runner from Houston, only 79 overall. Not sure how realistic that is, but it is fun to see. All right, let's move on. Quick look at the top 25. TCU takes over the top spot. They did not play in their conference championship. Ohio State is 2. South Carolina, Georgia, Miami, Washington, Oregon. So Oregon did not play in their conference championship. Did the Cascade Valley Conference not have a championship? Oregon and Washington are 1 and 2, and they didn't play last week. I may have to check that out. It doesn't look like it, because none of these other teams are from there. Shoot. All right, well, let's look at your top 25. Let's move on. College football bracket here. Teams that get a bye is Ohio State ends up with the overall number 1, and not TCU. Interesting. Oregon, South Carolina, Arkansas also get byes. We see Texas A&M in there from our conference. So we'll check back on this as we go through the rest of the postseason here. All right, let's move on. Hopefully we got somebody to sign this week, and then come the transfer portal, we won't have many guys, and we'll have enough points to sign everybody, but we'll see. All right, so we get a level up. I think we're going to put that into Tactician. Vi Obi wins the Heisman Trophy. Okay, so we've got 40 points. We leveled up quite a bit. Let's jump in and use those. I want to get Tactician going, just so as we play, we get these boosts. Offensive line, I think I'm boosting right away. D-line, got to win in the trenches. We got 10 left. We're going to get our receivers to block and our linebackers. Okay, quick look at job offers. We're not going to take anything, but we could go over to East Carolina. That'd be interesting. Be the OC at a couple other spots. But we are staying at UTSA. We're going to build this program up. All right, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't liked, subscribe, please do so. Again, just trying to build this channel and the community of people who like deep diving into recruits, into recruiting, some of the coaching philosophy stuff. So if you are enjoying it, I would appreciate you hitting that like and subscribing. And be sure to tune in the next one. We'll get through the bowl games. We'll wrap up recruiting and look at the transfer portal, see if anybody there fits what we need. And then it's on to season number 2, or technically season 1, with our guys that we're bringing in. So until the next one, keep gaming, keep growing, and keep celebrating those obscure victories. Game on.